Oh wow, I'm covered in dirt. Hi, I'm Rachel. Welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today I spent all day planting out peppers in the garden and eggplants, and now it's time to show you guys what I've been working on. From back here you can't really tell everything I've put in because it's so short, and everything else in the garden has been growing really consistently. So starting where we always do with the fava beans and the onions, I actually just put out a video showing you guys how to harvest and cook these things and one of my favorite recipes. I've picked quite a few of them and it looks like another batch of them are about to be ready, and I'm trying to decide if I want to harvest them fresh or leave them on the plant and let them dry out so that I have dried fava beans. So my spinach has actually started to go to seed in earnest. You can see all the little flower pods just starting to come up, and at this point there's no point in trying to fight it and continue harvesting spinach. It's already gone bitter, unfortunately, but it is great to let it go to flower so that I can collect seeds for next year. Hello, Miss Kada. So further down the row, I saw something in my garden that was definitely not supposed to be there, and it did this to my kohlrabi. Pretty sure it was a groundhog, and luckily it didn't get the big one. It just got the leaves, which I guess I don't really care. Probably gonna go ahead and pick this ASAP and find something to do with it. Alright, so if we come back to the front of the rows next to the fava beans, this is where the new stuff begins. I have planted here in between my onions, pepper plants. Almost all of this row is sweet peppers except for the very last little bit over there. And I have a few different varieties of sweet peppers through here, and they're all looking a little wilty just because they got transplanted in the heat of the day, but I think they're recovering quite nicely. There are a couple of plants down here. These are Lesa peppers, and all of my seeds for these produced peppers that had curled leaves for some reason, even though I've grown successfully healthy plants from the same exact seed packet in years past. So I'm wondering if the seeds just were no good anymore or something happened. Not really sure, but I'm hoping that now that they're out in the ground, they will start looking a little healthier. And then next to where all of the peppers went, I did half a row in the back of eggplant. There's 3 Nagasaki long and 3 Antigua eggplants, and those go all the way to where the lettuce is over here. And I'm sorry to say that the groundhog got some of the lettuce too. This one here was huge and beautiful, and now it is eaten. I'm getting ready to harvest most of this anyway for a family dinner, because if I leave them much longer they are bound to go to seed just like the spinach and not taste good anymore. So I might as well share it while I can. While I was planting peppers, I got to get a really good look at some of my onions, and they are looking really quite good. You can see here, this one, the outer layer is starting to dry out even. That's a really good sized onion, and it's not even done growing yet. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leaves. Some of them earlier I counted were starting to grow their 10th leaf, so they are very close to that ideal 13. The arches are starting to look really nice, especially here in the golden hour. And this kale, it just keeps getting bigger. Oh my gosh, I just looked up and I noticed this. That is my first little pea pod coming out. The flowers for this one look like this beautiful purple color, and then the pods are also Just this lovely purple color. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just noticed this one. This one is green, but it also has these purple flowers. So, that's interesting because I also have one that is white flowers. And I thought I only planted 2 varieties, but that was the most recent planting. I did plant, I think 3 total varieties of peppers, but only 2 when I replanted after the ones that I planted in the fall didn't really work out. So maybe a couple of the ones that I planted in the fall actually survived. I'll have to go back and check my seed packets. The radishes in between trellises are looking great. Oh wow, those are actually bigger than I expected. These are Icicle Radishes, and let's see on the other side. I think these are red China rose, so they're going to be red and long, but I don't see any of them bulbing up. Oh, there, that one is starting to, right there. But most of these are for going to seed anyway. I mentioned last week that I'm letting a lot of brassicas go to seed in the garden to hopefully ward off pests. I don't know if this works, but I figure it's worth a shot. The turnips that I've let go to seed are certainly starting to take over, and the pods I can show you. This is about final size for one of these turnip pods. Pretty decent, but really small still compared to what you can get from a radish. And I have actually 2 different varieties of turnip that have gone to seed here. Most of these are white ladies, and then this one that is late to flower is a golden turnip, and I feel like the flowers look a little different, but I don't know, it's hard to say. They're all kind of pretty yellow flowers. Next to all of the turnips I have potatoes, and this is the only potato that is not a purple one that has come up, and I'm not really sure why, but at least the purple ones look really great and healthy. Oh my god, I swear, every time I think I've picked all the grass out of an area, I find more. It is sprouting from the straw that I laid down, and I'm not sure if I want to do this again after all these weeds coming up. So I also planted some peppers in this final row over here, only up to about there or so. This is the remainder of the hot peppers, and I actually took out one of the Brussels sprouts that was flowering here in order to make it work. But a lot of these are like well placed so that they are just nice and in between the Brussels sprouts and the garlic I've got here, and hopefully they don't get too big before the garlic needs to come out and they can have the space. You can see the pods on this Brussels sprout looking very similar to the turnips. I'm thinking they'll probably reach a similar max size, not on the scale of what the radish pods could be. And speaking of radish pods, I might actually get some, although this radish has been flowering and I only see 1 pod set on it. You can see how it's got little stems coming off, but the flowers fell off instead of leaving behind a pod. So I'm wondering if these are getting pollinated quite well enough. Maybe just the first few have fallen off and it'll perk up after that. But these radish flowers are definitely different. I've only seen white and purple radish flowers, and then the turnips and the Brussels sprouts have all been yellow, but I'm sure that varies from variety to variety. So if we take a quick look over at the raised bed, it is starting to look wild as well. The cilantro has absolutely taken off in terms of going to flower, and each of these flowers is going to be a coriander seed for me. So it looks like the coriander harvest is going to be quite good. Parsley also going to seed. Flowers are about to open up. That's going to be pretty. And the onions in here are actually starting to bulb up as well, but they've been much smaller this whole season, so I'm expecting smaller onions from here. And that's fine. I have plenty of other onions. I was just sticking extras in here because I didn't want to waste them. Thyme looking awesome. And of course the stevia coming back. Oh man, I ruffled the thyme and now I can smell it. Oh, that smells so good. Yeah. Anyways, the stevia, if you didn't know, it comes back every year from its roots. This was completely dead a few weeks ago, and here it is. Alright, and as we're finishing up, I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of the stuff that I still have to do in the garden. It's a lot. So tomatoes have not gone out yet. It's still going to be a couple of weeks because my first round of tomato starts all died for the second year in a row for no explainable reason. Second batch of starts, I did the exact same way and they look great and healthy. So I don't know. But that means the fava beans get to stay in place a little bit longer, and I'm not mad about that. I'm pretty excited to have dried fava beans off of those. Let's see, what else do I have to do? I have to direct seed a bunch of stuff, so I'm going to be putting in squashes and beans direct seeded, and sunflowers, probably also corn. And in order to do the corn, I'm going to have to do some serious weeding over there by where the spinach is on that first row. And that's going to be a job and a half. So that might get put off till last. Because I want to get everything else in now that the weather has turned and it's definitely about the right time for all of this stuff. So of course I have a bunch of basil that is ready to go out, and that's going to be a couple more weeks until it is big enough, but we are getting very close with the basil. And oh yeah, and I have some flower starts that need to go out probably tomorrow if I can. And I'm gonna have a hard time figuring out where to put them because the garden already looks very full. And of course, most of what you see in it right now is going to come out very soon. Onions, they've got about a month. Garlic has about 2 months. The peas, I'm not gonna get very much of a harvest off of them. So those are gonna get torn out very soon. Yeah, and the fava beans will get torn out and all the lettuces. So mostly the garden is empty and ready right now, if you think about it in terms of what's going to happen over the next month. But at this very moment, putting flowers in tomorrow sounds like a bit of a squeeze. But it'll be fine. Flower starts are this big and they don't need that much room for now. Alright, and before I go, I'm going to give you guys a time lapse of the sun setting on the garden. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Until next time, I wish you happy gardening.